In this video, you'll learn whether matcha and other types of Japanese green tea can help you fight obesity and lose weight. On top of that, we'll also learn how much green tea do you exactly have to drink in order to see the effects. As we do in our videos, we'll do a deep dive you won't find anywhere else. Welcome to the Japanese Tea Pedia. This is Yuki from Tealife. This is our third video, second in the health series, and today we're talking about obesity. I think everyone knows what obesity is, so let's dive into some of the facts around obesity. So obesity is obviously a global issue. There are 650 million adults who have obesity, and according to WHO, this number has tripled since 1975. In the US, obesity is a public health crisis with over 40% of adults and nearly 20% of children and adolescents classified as obese. And this is obviously a problem because obesity is said to contribute to several health issues, including type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and certain cancer. Not only that, it also reduces the overall life expectancy and the quality of life as well. So obesity is becoming a huge social issue these days, and this is something we want to reduce as much as possible. Now, the good thing is that Japanese green tea is indeed something that does help reduce weight. So now let's go into specifics in terms of how does Japanese green tea help lose weight. As I like to do in our videos, let's dive into the details, the scientific side of the mechanisms on how the green tea affects our body. Important to do so because this will help us really be able to reap the benefits of this green tea. We'll do this by introducing a research conducted on mice. And as I'm doing in the other videos in this series, what we'll be referring to as a resource is this booklet called 20 Health Benefits of Japanese Tea. It was created in 2019 by the Japanese Tea Central Public Interest Incorporated Association, and it's introduced by the MAFF, which is the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries of Japan. If you access their website, the government website of Japan, you can still download the booklet as well. So I can say that it's a pretty reliable resource. The problem is it's in Japanese, and that's why I'm here to digest this information for you. Okay, let me introduce this study for you. In a research published in 2000 by Sayama, Lin, Zeng, and Oguni, mice were fed on diets containing 1%, 2%, and 4% of green tea powder for 60 months. It was found that body weight increase and visceral fat were remarkably suppressed for the 2%, 4% green tea diet. Now, of course, visceral fat is the fat that you find in the abdominal cavity around the organs such as liver, intestines, pancreas, so on and so forth. So according to this research, green tea consumption reduces the fat absorption, which is one. And in later research, it was also observed that for the 4% green tea diet, there was evidence of suppressed appetite as well. So there was two factors going in there. Now that already sounds pretty awesome, but I'd like to dive in a little bit deeper. Of the substances of green tea powder, these effects were attributed mostly to caffeine and green tea catechins. The green tea catechin is something we talked about in the previous video, but it's a naturally occurring compound in green tea that's said to drive most of the health benefits of the green tea. I'll add a link to the previous video because we go fairly in depth into green tea catechins there. The combination of green tea catechins and caffeine, they work at the liver to 1, inhibit fat synthesis, so it reduces the fat from formulating, and 2, they promote lipolysis. It's the breaking down of the triglycerides, which are the stored fat. Now let's look at the fat cells as well, because they are the ones that store the triglycerides, and the green tea catechins and the caffeine, they affect them as well. They do this by 1, suppressing the proliferation of fat cells. 2, again, they promote lipolysis. And then 3, they also enhance the heat-producing function in the fat cells. So that helps the body burn excess fat. So I find this quite fascinating. Green tea takes a multi-pronged approach to fight obesity in several ways at once. It affects the liver to inhibit creation of fat cells while promoting the combustion. It affects the fat cells to inhibit the proliferation, break down fats, and also help burn the excess fat. On top of that, as I said, it reduces the appetite as well. Quite fascinating. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, does this work only for mice, or does it also work for humans? Does this work outside of the lab as well? Now, the good thing is there are several studies that show tangible results on humans. So let's introduce some of these as well. Let's check out 2007 research conducted by Nagao, Hase, and Tokimitsu. This is a Japanese research done to 240 subjects. After a 2-week diet run-in period, a 12-week double-blind parallel multi-center trial was performed in which the subjects ingested green tea containing 583 milligrams of catechin, which is the catechin group, and then 96 milligrams of catechins for the control group per day. Now, this double-blind parallel multi-center trial design, it's a very long name, but it's considered the golden standard of clinical trials for effective research. It essentially provides an unbiased, fair, and diverse experiment. Decreases in body weight, body mass index, body fat ratio, body fat mass, waist circumference, hip circumference, visceral fat area, and subcutaneous fat area were found to be greater in the catechin group than the control group. A greater decrease in systolic blood pressure, which is the top number of the blood pressure, was found in the catechin group compared to the control group for the subjects whose initial systolic blood pressure was higher than 130. Low-density lipoprotein, LDL cholesterol, was also decreased to a greater extent for the catechin group. No adverse effects were found. I don't have the precise numbers here, but there is a chart, and looking at the chart, I'm trying to give you a sense of how the chart looks to my eyes, but it looks like when it comes to the visceral fat, the control group reduces fat area of, looks like around 4 centimeters square, while the catechin group lost more than 10 centimeters square. So that's a pretty notable difference. When it comes to the subcutaneous fat, which is the fat under the skin, the control group actually increased, it looks like, say around 3 to 4 centimeters square. The catechin group lost more than 6 centimeters square. So I think those results are pretty notable. The report does conclude that still more research is needed to accumulate evidence, but this is not the only study, and there are several studies that indicate the effectiveness of green tea for weight loss. So I think these series of studies makes it clear that Japanese green tea does have positive effects to obesity, and this is significant because this also means that it reduces the risk for other types of diseases, such as type 2 diabetes, heart diseases, stroke, and different types of cancer, not to mention the overall quality of life as well. Now, drinking 583 milligrams of green tea catechin per day is not really easy to do. As I mentioned, there are several studies that look into the effectiveness of green tea for obesity, and through these results, it does seem like 500 milligrams is a right amount. Now, a cup of sencha is said to be about 60 to 100 milligrams of catechin, so you'll need a bunch of those. A cup of matcha is said to be about 100 to 150 milligrams of catechin, and the problem with matcha is that since it's very thick, it's not really easy to drink several cups in a day. So again, 500 milligrams of catechin per day is not really easy to achieve. There are EGCG supplements that will make it easier. However, I won't go into this in this video, but there are health reasons that I don't really recommend EGCG supplements either. So what I actually recommend is more on the basics. Multiple infusions of loose leaf green tea per day. This is a lot more realistic to reach 500 milligrams of catechin. This is not only because you can easily have multiple cups of green tea per day, it's also because there are types of loose leaf green tea that has high catechin content. So for example, on our online shop, we have a green tea called EGCG green tea. And this is a green tea where we specifically selected loose leaf tea that has high catechin content. And for this tea, the first infusion will give you about 240 milligrams of catechins, which is a lot. And then the second infusion will bring that number up to 360. So that makes you very close, that gets you very close to the 500 milligrams you need per day. So I just think that it's a lot more realistic to get to 500 milligrams with loose leaf tea that way. Or what you can do is something close to what I do, which is having a cup of matcha in the morning, which is about, again, 100 to 150 milligrams of catechin. And then in the afternoon, I can switch to loose leaf tea and kind of fulfill the rest of the catechin I want for the day. Now, as we observed, green tea does have tangible effects for obesity. However, I'd say that the effect is mild. So if you're really seriously trying to lose weight, I wouldn't solely rely or depend upon green tea to do that. I would use a combination of green tea, healthy food, and exercise in order to lose weight. Nonetheless, I think it's really good to incorporate Japanese green tea into your daily diet because it helps obesity, but not only that, it also helps reduce the risk of numerous other diseases. So just by adding Japanese green tea into your daily diet, it really improves your overall health. And of course, we'll go into those in future videos. Okay, so that was episode 2 of our health series. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Now, this is such a niche topic that, again, I'm not sure how many people will really watch till the end, but if you are that special person who did watch till the end, thank you so much. And I do want to ask you a favor to like and subscribe to the video so that'll give us momentum to create more videos in the future. Episode 3 will dive into arteriosclerosis, which is where we see significant positive impacts of Japanese green tea on health. So please stay tuned.